All right, so this video is going to go over questions 1, 2, and 3 from the review version A. These all have to do with this picture over here, and I do want to start off by talking about some of the other angles that weren't included, but you could see on the test as well, because these are not necessarily the questions that you'll get on your CBA. So vertical angles weren't mentioned, linear, and then also alternate interior angles. So I want to go over each of these real quick, and then we'll get into the actual questions as well. Vertical angles, remember those are the ones that are diagonal from each other and are super close together. So an example of vertical angles could be like angle 2 and angle 4, or angle 1 and angle 3. Those would both be examples of vertical angles. Linear angles are also super close together, but they are right next door to each other. So 1 and 2, right next to each other, they make a line together. So 1 and 2 could be linear, and also 1 and 4, or 3 and 4, or 2 and 3. So I'll do 1 and 4 as my second example, but they make a line together. So kind of remember, linear line makes a straight line together. Alternate interior. Remember, alternate, think of the word opposite with that. So if things are alternate, one's on the left side, one's on the right side. And that's actually similar to this guy down here, which we'll go over in a second. Interior means inside. So if you're in the interior of a house, you're on the inside of the house. In this case, though, it's talking about the parallel lines. So when you see this word interior and this word exterior, and then our alternate interior, those all have to do with the parallel lines. So opposite sides in between the parallel lines. So these 4 are interior angles. 4 and 6 would be one pair of alternate interior. And then obviously the remaining pair would be 3 and 5. Now be careful, because it's not 4 and 3. Okay, they are on opposite sides and they're between the lines, but those are linear angles. Remember, we talked about that a little bit earlier. So let's jump down to the alternate exterior one. That's going to be the exact same thing, opposite for alternate. Exterior, though, this means outside the parallel lines. So look at our options, 2 and 8, 2 and 7. So I know it's got to be 2. So that one's already on the outside. It's on the right-hand side. So jump down over here. Which one's on the opposite side? That would be 8. So the answer for number 3 should have been A, 2 and 8. Opposite exterior, alternate exterior. So let's go back to number 2, same side interior. Interior means on the inside of the parallel lines. So that's this stuff in here. Same side obviously means on the same side. So this is kind of our barrier right down the middle. So 2, we know we have to use angle 3. Well, what other angles on the same side of that barrier? It would be angle 6. So number 2 is C, 6 or 3 and 6. And now let's go back up to number 1. This one's kind of a tricky one. I like to use the phrase matching to think of this one. So corresponding angles are angles that are in matching positions. So I know I have to use angle 1. Now, if I look at the kind of cluster up here, like if I just focus on this group as one cluster and this group as a second cluster, where is angle 1 at in that cluster? Is it in the top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right? Which corner is it in? Well, it's in the top left-hand corner of this little 4-number cluster. So what's the matching spot down below? Well, the top left-hand corner down here is angle 5. So 1 and 5 are the corresponding ones. 2 and 6 would also be corresponding. 3 and 7 would be corresponding. And 4 and 8 would also be corresponding. So those are the answers to the 3 first questions and a couple other angle pairs to go along with it.